Good morning, Fulham fans. Hope everyone is doing all right following Fulham's very disappointing 1-0 away loss to West Brom at the Hawthorns. And this is coming off the back of another frustrating 1-1 draw on Saturday against Barnsley. And we were saying at the time that Fulham looked very fatigued, looked very sort of travel weary, and that we expected to see a lot of rotation going into this match. And I mean, we look really tired. And you got to remember that Fulham are coming off the back of 3 very long haul away fixtures. We had Swansea Tuesday last week, followed by Barnsley, and now West Brom. And I mean, we were looking kind of passengers a lot again. I know we beat Swansea 5-1, but up until the sending off, we really didn't look like we were our sort of swashbuckling free scoring selves. Obviously, that changed after the red card. We went on to win 5-1, but yeah, we haven't really been ourselves of late. And I think that yesterday's result was an accumulation of some very tired players, not an awful lot of squad rotation. I mean, we only had one change going in. Marcus Silva bringing in Nathaniel Chalobah for Seri in the number 6, keeping Reed in the number 8 role. We've spoken before about whether this partnership works. And I mean, Reed, I think everyone agrees, is essential to the side. However, you don't get the creativity with him. And I'm not sure whether the partnership of Reed and Chalobah works. I personally much prefer to see Reed in the number 6 and then have one of our more creative players in the number 8. But yeah, the last time we were at the Hawthorns was that very horrific 2-2 draw when we were in the Premier League. And so it's a ground that doesn't hold very good memories for us in recent times. And yeah, on the squad rotation, I just think that this was a game that was crying out for some sort of fresh legs. And Marco Silva stuck to his guns and just made the one change. And I think we really paid for it ultimately. I mean, Tim Ream, all credit to him, it's hard as nails, but he looked like he should not have been playing. Following his injury that he picked up and he got taken off at Barnsley, he had a sort of 4-inch gash in the side of his head, and yeah, it was all bandaged up. His head looked yellow, and I mean, fair play for him to sort of like carry on playing, but he looked like he should not have been anywhere near that starting lineup. Yeah, I mean, it was immediate from the onset that Fulham were just not at the races yesterday. West Brom had the better chances. They were pressing us really well. We just looked really off the pace, and West Brom frustrating us with their long throw tactic, but it did very well to break up our momentum. There were loads of sloppy passes on our side. But yeah, it pressed well. We just weren't sharp enough from the off. And I don't think any Fulham fan would say that we particularly deserved a win yesterday. Yeah, we just weren't sharp. We had far too many loose touches and unhit passes. Peter Rutzler tweeted just before half-time, our athletic correspondent, saying, Fulham are well off the pace in this game, very surprised it's still 0-0. And I mean, that was true. Fulham didn't muster a single shot on target for the duration of the first half. I think I saw a stat flying around that was the first time that's happened to us since 2013, the first time that we didn't manage to have a shot on target. But yeah, I mean, we got Wayne Ward in the comments here saying, Fulham fan, we look tired, but we will bounce back from this game and we will still win the league. I mean, yeah, that's the sentiment that we want to carry on to. We're still saying it's when we go up, not if we go up. But yeah, we should look like we really, really needed this international break that's coming up, and I think it will do us good. And let's not forget, following the Coventry game, when we lost 4-1 at their place, Fulham had a 2-week break and responded absolutely brilliantly with a 4-1 home win to QPR. We've obviously got QPR after this 2-week break, but that was really the victory that spurred us on. And the spell that followed sort of cemented Fulham as the team to beat in this league and, you know, the team to watch. And that was when we really established ourselves as promotion contenders. And we weren't defeated following that until the Sheffield United game just before Christmas. So, you know, this kind of, I think, shows that Fulham respond very well to break. And I think when you have a manager who, by and large, stays with a similar lineup, pending fitness and injuries and whatnot, this is going to happen. You know, we're going to go through spells where we're fantastic, and then eventually, just as we're getting towards the sort of international breaks, we're going to burn out. One player I want to say who I thought had a very, very good game for us was Marek Rodak. I think that speaks volumes for the sort of match it was, that our man of the match was undoubtedly our goalkeeper. I thought he was thought it was brilliant. You know, he kept us in it. He had some superb saves following shots from Robson. And if it wasn't for the saves that he pulled off, we could have been 2 or 3-0 down at half time. And that performance carried on into the second half. And yeah, as I said earlier, we really, really did not look at the races. West Brom thoroughly deserved their victory. And this international break cannot come at a better time for us. So yeah, I'm going to now have a little breakdown of the goal, and I think it highlights a few of the points that I've already made. So here we see Anthony Robinson. This is where he collects the ball just before being dispossessed, and you can see how high this West Brom presses. He really didn't allow any Fulham players any time on the ball. You know, it forced errors from us, and West Brom too were unchanged, and they just really could sense that this Fulham team was fatigued. So this is where Robson loses the ball, and then we find ourselves in this position with Grant is on the ball, moving into our attacking third. And you see where Robinson is just by the touchline. In this position, you need to be making up the ground. He's got the pace, he's got the athletic ability. He needs to be trying everything that he can to catch up with Robinson. We've got Ream and Tosin in position here. They can come forward. They can come to cover in the middle of the park. But instead, what we see happen is him ball watch, lunge in to try and make this interception. Totally the wrong thing to do, leaving Ream isolated. He's turned inside out. And then next thing you know, we're in this position, and we all know what happens next. Robinson puts the ball in the back of the net for 1-0. And yeah, it's just, I mean, I don't want to be too critical of Robinson. I feel like he's a very, he's coming under a lot of stick at the moment, and he's still a young player, at 24. His pace, his strength, his one-on-one defending is superb. And I think that there is another debate to be had as to whether we prefer Joe Bryan or Robinson in the left-back position. However, one thing I would like to stress is that USA are away to Costa Rica on March the 31st. Which means that, I mean, you would not expect Anthony Robinson to play in that match. So maybe this is a chance where Joe Bryan come back into the squad, prove to Marco Silva in the team, what he provides, and I guess we'll take it from there. But yeah, it was a defensive error on the goal, but that's not the only opportunity that West Brom had to score by any stretch of the imagination. We had just poor game all round, and as I said, I think Rodak was the only player for us who came out looking like he had a pretty good game. We've got another comment here from Luke saying, up the Fulham, missed Neeskins massively last night. Yeah, I feel like we're starting to miss him a lot. And I mean, he must have really gone wild for his 30th birthday celebrations, because he's not been in the squad since then. I believe he's picked up some kind of injury. But yeah, I love Bobby De Cordova-Reid. Luke here saying he looked like he was hobbling at half time. He's surprised he stayed on for so long. Sometimes Marco takes too long to make changes. Yeah, I would have to agree. I was very surprised that we didn't make any changes at half time yesterday. It wasn't until around the 70th minute when Tom Kearney and Cav came on in place of, I believe it was Reed. But yeah, it was way too late. We were looking really, really on our last legs at that point. 100% agree. Market maybe takes a little bit too long to make changes, but it feels so stupid criticizing a manager who's done such fantastic things for us this season and has brought back this entertaining brand of football that Fulham fans have become accustomed to over previous years. But yeah, I mean, there's maybe one slight criticism. And, managers always, Marcus, when he was at Everton before, people said that he wasn't very good at set pieces, and Everton conceded a plethora of set piece goals. And it was one of the factors that led to his ultimate dismissal. And he's come into Fulham, and we look fantastic, both defending and attacking with set pieces. So he's a manager that obviously learns. And I think that, he's reactive to criticism and recommendations, should we say. So yeah, just moving on with these slides, this was the opportunity that Fulham had to draw 1-1. I mean, it was a fantastic square ball from Fabio, and you see this is where Mitro shoots. Like, how many times have we seen him put them in the back of the net, and instead he blasted it over the top left hand corner. But yeah, it just goes to show this rest will really, really do us good, and it's come at, I think, the perfect time. So yeah, before we get to doom and gloom, let's just have a look at the table. So you see Fulham still sitting very, very pretty. You know, we're 14 points clear of third place. And I think despite the 2 negative results that we've had, you know, we're still in a very, very good position, like looking like we're going to go up. Yeah, of course, we're still 11 points clear of Bournemouth, but they've got those 2 games in hand. It'll be a very interesting game when we go to their grounds in April, I believe. Yeah, one that we're all looking forward to. Should we just have a look at the quick fixture list? So yeah, you see Fulham with the postponed game of Nottingham Forest, who are playing an FA Cup tie. Our next game comes 2nd of April. So we've got such a long break here. Time to, you know, regroup, rest, you know, gather our thoughts, and then really push on for the final push, and then on to promotion. So yeah, not doom and gloom too much. We're recording a podcast a bit later, so if anyone has any questions, you know, get in touch on Twitter or on Instagram. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this quick take. Let's not get our heads too down. It was just one of those games. Fulham are not at the races, and yeah, push on. We're still going up. Still definitely when we go up, not if we go up. All right. Cheers. See you later.